Hey guys, what's going on? Great BTC here, and you're watching Crypto Hustle. An incredible live stream as always. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're just joining, you already know the rules of the live stream is you join in, you register by destroying the like button. And first of all, I want to thank everybody out there who listened to yesterday's call when we were talking about Binance. Binance was rumored to be on the verge of a collapse, and we did a live stream to protect ourselves, to make sure that we have some self-defense mechanisms in place. And it seems like now things are cooling down a little bit more. So besides that, today I have a special guest. His name is Anthem. He has been on this channel before for a long time ago, back in the day in 2017. When was the last time we talked Anthem on live?
It's been a while on the show, so it might have been at least 3 years ago. It's been a long time. I'm really grateful, Greg, to be on, and it's just amazing the audience you've earned, and if for good reason. You bring great value and quality to this whole space. So thank you. It's an honor.
A lot of people don't know that one of my earliest jobs in crypto was with you, Anthem. Anthem was my employer. He hired me at Hercules. I earned a lot of Bitcoin working for him at the time. I think it was those days. It was like what? I think BTC
Maybe
was
a
like
thousand.
$1,000 or less, maybe $800 or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was under 1,000 for some of that time. Yeah, that was way back. So yeah, it's amazing. You're a visionary, and you were actually, I think, our chief visual officer at the time. You were so dynamic that you had, it was like a your own title, and just trying to bring out all the artistry. And obviously you've now bloomed into this amazing person, and you already were, but it's in the space. Just you're one of probably the biggest thought leaders in all of Web3 now, and so it's just great. It's been really exciting, and I really enjoyed a lot of your content. So as a fellow audience member, when I do get a chance, I don't have tons of time to watch, but I do love to follow you. So thank you.
Thanks, Anthem. I really appreciate the opportunity earlier on, and that you still keep supporting and keeping an eye on the community and the what's going on in the space. So, look, I would want to talk a little bit. I mean, because you have been in crypto for a long time, and you know all these guys, the high level guys. You have met all of them. With what's going on right now with, say, Binance and FTX, what's your take on it at the moment? Like, where is your mind at? Like,
Yep.
what's happening?
Well, I think it's every other dollar price cycle that we've seen. We've seen blowouts of exchanges. Of course, Mount Gox. There were
Mm,
a lot of other ones before that, and after that, that came and went. A lot of famous ones, right? And the Quadriga famous one, right? I mean, there's a lot of real infamous ones, and counterparty risk, right? It's this issue where Bitcoin is hyper transparent. It's impossible to forge and corrupt the database of Bitcoin, yet a lot of these exchanges that are trading in the keys, right? We call them slang coins, but they're really software keys of Bitcoin or these other, protocols, cryptocurrencies, right? They're totally like not transparent. So what happens? Bad actors, right? FTX, bad actors, and we'll see with Binance. It's a proof of reserve, proof of liability. Until you can really see both sides of the balance sheet, the equation, it's difficult. So I think people are going to demand more transparency in this next cycle. Good opportunities. So DEXs, totally transparent exchanges. I think that those are going to be this next 3 to 5 year cycle.
yeah, and with so right now with I mean, did you lose money in any of the collapses like Mangox or Celsius or FTX? Did you got affected with any of it?
We did not. I didn't personally, nor did the company. And we really do take a not your keys. If they're on an exchange. So we use a lot of exchanges. We've used a lot of OTC. However, we have a policy not to house on exchanges because of the very reason that you see. It's like being at a bank without having the FDIC federal insurance in the U.S. or banking
Mm.
insurance. it's like banking in Lebanon, right? You don't know if you're going to get your cash back necessarily, right? So um, it's not a good situation, right? So yeah, we didn't, and nor do we get into any of this kind of CFI stuff where there was like lending going on, but it was on balance sheet. And um, you know, we actually built. So I don't know, Herasoft, for the audience quickly. We build software for companies that's ransomware proof, because it's all Web3, and so it's kind of one of the points that we're bringing up with people is that these public protocol softwares, kind of the more formal way to call cryptocurrencies, they're actually ransomware proof in the sense that the architecture is distributed. So think like new school Christmas lights,
Yeah.
where if you take one bulb, right, all the bulbs stay, versus old school Christmas lights they call serial networks, where if you take one part out of the strand, the whole
All of them
strand goes
go.
out, right? And it's freaking so painful, right? Like, which one is it, right? So that's the internet today. The internet's kind of like a big serial network. That's why cybercrime is like $9 trillion this year, about, which just in
Wow.
context, 4 years ago was under $1 trillion. So it's about 10x in like 4 years time. So it's the epidemic nobody talks about. So but it's real. So you can Google Statista cybercrime, and it'll pop this graph right up. From a few weeks ago, and it's a real concern. And obviously, all of us that are speculating on the software keys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever your favorites, we have to be worried, because obviously, it's all digital. So if your keys get compromised in any way,
You
you
lose
have to really
everything.
be right. So it's all about security. So
But did you ever lost like anything in Mt. Gox before?
no, never even in Mt. Gox. Always held personal wallets. I never held on an exchange. I used blockchain.info for a long time. It's like blockchain.com now,
Mm,
um, as a digital wallet, and then started using ledgers and Trezors pretty early as hardware wallets. And
mm.
I've just kind of stuck to that equation, and I just haven't been tempted by any of the yield stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Either
Let's talk about that anthem a little bit because I mean you have been in this space for a long time. You invested in Ethereum early. At what price did you enter Bitcoin again?
Bitcoin at $12 personally. So yeah, Trace
$12.
May, he's a very famous guy. I'm really glad that I met Trace. I hope he's doing really well. He introduced me to Bitcoin a long time ago, and I finally, was convinced of it by him roughly end of 2012, and that's when I got in, and that's kind of when I became enamored with the space. And we just started as a company, as a group of companies. We started developing. We had a gold company, so Reuters credited us with building the world's first gold crypto back in 2014. We did it as a promotion, and we built a couple other gold crypto platforms, and decided just to start building the software itself was kind of our specialty. And the last 3 years, this company Herasoft that we founded, we basically been just building Web3 platforms. We've built DeFi platforms. We've built NFT platforms. We've like version protocols from one layer one to another layer one. Sports collectibles, all kinds of stuff that we've done. So
But
it's been fun.
why didn't you get it? Like if you were holding that much crypto because you're an early investor, why at any point you never got so interested in the yield stuff? Because that was hard. Like I'm sure some of your colleagues that you meet all the high level guys who are super into crypto, and everybody was talking about yield at some point, or like some
Yeah,
of the early investors also like Brooke Pierce that you guys you used to meet up um, in
Puerto Rico.
in Puerto Rico. You were basically part of the Puerto Rico crew, which was literally responsible for DeFi because you guys moved to Puerto Rico before the last bull market, right? So you saw all these protocols being built, and then the yield stuff starting to get built again, and then we saw a boom into that, and you never really touched any of it. I've been so surprised.
Yeah, I was scared of it, honestly. As a company, we launched Hercules, a layer two public protocol on Ethereum as an index layer, and we're still using it. We're basically using it to index our stack for our software. And we took a look at some implementations that we could have done maybe for DeFi, and I couldn't see them as sustainable.
Hmm.
I couldn't see a DeFi model sustaining the yield, and I'm still very skeptical of it. I think that it's possible. However, I think that the software has to commercialize for things like DeFi to become like a true value add kind of a flywheel. Because until the software, Bitcoin, Ethereum, is used commercially, right? Like in
Mm.
businesses, like we use Linux, right? Or like we use Java and all of these different kinds of software, languages, and layers of software like HTTP, right, for websites, right? We need to use the protocols of Bitcoin, the protocol of Ethereum, as like a stack layer. All software that we use, like everything we use in life and software, it's a bunch of layers of software. It's not like a single layer, it's a bunch of layers. So when we talk about like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Matic or whatever your favorite is, or favorites are, we're just talking like a single protocol layer. So, what I kind of view is our timing. Once we kind of see commercialization, like the basics of Bitcoin being used as a 24/7, 365-day stack
Yeah.
by business, by government, that's going to be a trigger for me when things like DeFi yield will probably make more sense, because it will leverage off of commerce. It will leverage off of like supply chain and actual like delivery of goods and services, as opposed to just pure speculation. Because right now, there's no goods and services that any of these public protocols are materially serving. It's all just speculative. I mean, there's a lot of amazing stuff like Nike using NFTs to start projecting supply chain, for
Right.
example, right? Or affinity programs like when McDonald's comes back with the McRib or something, and who wants to make, like there's all these really cool use cases. However, like we're 14 years old in the invention of this entire space with Bitcoin in January. So this is a very young space, right? We have to remind ourselves of kind of where we are. And I think that will help give peace and comfort, and hopefully better decision making when it comes to speculation, right?
So
Because you're more tuned into time.
sorry to cut you off. So at this point, if you heard, because we have a lot of investors that watch the channel who are really trying. If you were, let's say, half the age and you had just a couple of $1,000 in your pocket, how would you approach crypto investing right now? Because you invested in Bitcoin at $12, it definitely worked out for you.
Yeah.
But right
Well,
now, with everything considered, BTC has already been at 60K and back. Ethereum has been to like almost $5,000. What would be your approach right now if you had to say attempting to make
I
money?
mean, I would say if you had $2,000 worth of in your account, I would say put 1,000 of that into Bitcoin right now, and just put it in a wallet that you control the keys. Like Edge Wallet is one that I use online and free. I've known Paul Pui for years, so I know that team. And for that kind of amount, probably okay for a while. Eventually, try to get a hardware wallet would be my suggestion, but treat that like your 30-year, 40-year retirement plan. And then the other $1,000, I would just watch your show, watch your channel, and just get a lot of recommendations. Go into your Discord and basically get a lot of your recommendations, because you follow the market really closely. I don't have the time to follow like the daily market action. So I'm not a really great person when it comes to like really short term speculation. I'm more of a long term speculator. So um, that's why I say, put half of it in Bitcoin and just keep it safe, and just spec speculate with the rest of it, and maybe kind of take that kind of approach, especially if you're in your 20s, you're early, you don't have kids, you don't have dependents, you have more risk on the table, right? That you can play with. And I would say do that, right? When you're young is the time to take the biggest of big risks when it comes to your business decisions, right? And look how well, it's managed for you, right? You took a lot of big risks, and it's worked out really well, right? So when your overhead is less, then it's easier to win in business, right? And your overhead's less when you're younger. So That's kind of a good key.
Yeah, that's very good advice, guys. If you like that advice and you agree with it, definitely destroy the like button. It's so rare these days to see a lot of experienced Bitcoin people giving advice, because most of them, they basically disappear from the world and buy islands and just live a quiet life, you know? And also, to be honest, in this space right now, we're running out of OGs who have been in the game for like super, super early days. And some of that wisdom that you guys have who have been in the space for that long is that it's now getting lost. That's why a lot you're seeing more people losing everything to exchanges or to like yield farming protocols or platforms, DeFi platforms, because that knowledge that you just shared there, it's so rare to hear someone say, "Oh, just put something in." When I was getting into it, your guys were telling me that, "Yo, you just buy some Bitcoin and really just put it on the side. Don't worry about it. Think about 10 years from now." That was so common at the time. Right now, like I can tell you, there are people who are watching this right now. They do not even own any Bitcoin. They just own like altcoins fully. It's crazy if you
Wow.
think about it.
Wow. Wow. I mean, and you know what? Hey, that's a way to learn. And when you're younger, again, you can afford to take bigger losses. Whatever you get wiped out, you're learning. But if you really, if you're of the mindset that you're looking to really preserve and grow your relative wealth, I would at least try to put 50% of it into Bitcoin and then to speculate on the rest of it. And I always say it's whatever you're comfortable with. People ask me all the time, right? I say whatever you're comfortable sleeping with at night. If it makes you sleep well, that's a good portfolio for you, right? It's personal, right? It's all psychological at the end of the day. So
So let's go back to the initial subject of what's going on right now. In your understanding, what do you think Sam Bankman-Fried did wrong? And also on the other side, do you think Binance is insolvent?
well, what I think Sam Bankman did wrong was he overplayed his hand. I think that he thought that he had everybody bought and purchased, and I think he saw a lot of the ICO stuff that happened in the years, and basically, companies buying them off. I mean, we never did a public ICO or offering of any sort. It was all private to a few, super accredited people,
Mm.
including my family, basically for Hercules, right? Like when we did that and all, out of the US and all of this. Well, a lot of companies didn't do that. And you look at FTX and it's like egregious that it looks like they spent hundreds of millions of dollars on paying off US regulators and thinking that that would help. I mean, we don't know yet, right? It's still the beginning of this whole, mess. But he didn't he act both unethically and totally immorally, obviously, right? Because he acted as a psychopath because he had no remorse for other people's pain, obviously. And so, I think it's another lesson that, I think the positive is how outed he is. That he's getting the kind of treatment he is so quickly by the public. I think is a really good sign.
Hmm.
And then, in terms of finance, I can't say, what their balance sheet looks like personally. It looks like they're still operating to me. So that seems positive. I mean, I think they supposedly have over 60 billion in assets, supposedly. Now, as we know with FTX, like what that exactly means, who knows? But, how liquid that balance sheet is, who knows? But, I would just say, treat exchanges with, capital that you can afford to lose. And, if you're taking advantage of leverage because you're an expert trader, great on you. That's your business. That's, your profession. However, there's counterparty risk. You could lose it all, right? Like FTX proved, or Celsius or Voyager or TradeFi or any of these other ones, right? That if there's a custodian there, if there's some other third party that's holding those keys, then you're at risk. And the best way is, I would say, the simplest best way I would say is a hardware wallet, and then make yourself update the software regularly, or make yourself buy a new hardware device regularly, like yearly or something, like you would a credit card fee or something, or a
Mm.
cell phone. I mean, you got to treat it. If you want to treat your wealth seriously, you have to treat the protection of your wealth seriously, and that's really important. So
Would you say, have you ever made Sam Bankman-Fried yourself?
I actually walked past him and I was about to say something to him and he just kept going. I was at a conference called SALT in New York
Mm.
about a year ago. I didn't go this year, but I went about a year ago, and he walked right by, and I remember he just looked just like he did on the pictures. He had his t-shirt, shorts, his shoes were all disheveled, and it was kind of a shock at first, right? Because you're in New York City and everybody's all like bankers suited up and everything, right? And here's this, kid, quote unquote, right? I mean, and I mean, in a way, it was kind of refreshing, I guess, from the outside. But obviously, he was putting on a whole show, and it's a good warning sign. Sometimes it's the best of the best and the worst of the worst with people like that. I found where either they're really attracting your attention because they've got something really awesome to offer and they really just want to share it with you, like gonzo marketing, or it's that they don't have any product or service and all they're doing is the marketing, right? And we've seen that time and again in crypto, right? Where people, promise rug, and they don't actually deliver. And that's something I'm always been proud of, is that with all of our teams and accomplishments, and even with all of our pivoting and more market timing, that we've always, remained true and we've never abandoned anyone in terms of our stakeholders. And, I'm grateful for that. So,
Would you say that he's a psychopath, Sam Bankman-Fried? Because it seems to me that he was wearing a lot of like, he had a lot of all the things that make someone look good in today's world. Much like, he was vegan, he cared about the future and the curing all the disease. A lot of virtue signaling, which to me it's usually a turn off when I see a person like that. But it
yep.
seemed. I don't think it was all coming from a good place. I think that he's innately evil, but
I,
he's
well,
a psychopath in a way that he knows how to create perception.
Yeah, well, here was a good signal. He was looking to do all of this charity. However, he was looking to do it, through donating all this national currency to all of these corrupted organizations ultimately. So let's think about that. I mean, the reason that a lot of the OGs are in crypto and Bitcoin is because we believe in a better society. Like read, Satoshi's white paper. I mean,
Mm.
it's all about a better way of commerce. It's all about a better way of communicating, of transaction, a better world. That's what we all that are really into this space for years really are into. We're not into trying to scam people. So when you're talking about like altruism, because like Web3 public protocol architecture offers a better way of architecture. It's a
Mm.
better way of communicating. That's the altruism. It's not in, oh, let me make a whole bunch of money in crypto, quote unquote, and then I'll just donate it. Like that in and of itself, I think was a really big signal, and I agree with you. Like people that are heavy on the virtue signaling, it usually means that there's limited or no substance. And, here was that case where there was limited substance, arguably, right? So, but no remorse, right? I mean, really no remorse for all these people's losses. I mean, all these, God knows, whatever kind of slush funds he kept. I mean, he wasn't interested at all at risking his own capital and helping preserve the company. It was all about how much could he take out before, the company went down, right? So those actions right there are super psychopathic. And it's a system that, is at least being forced to hold him accountable, I think, because of, Twitter and social media, right? And people are just pissed off. I mean,
Yeah.
he scammed, it looks like, over 1 million people. I don't know exactly the numbers, but it's a lot, and each wave is going to be more. There's going to be a bigger FTX. I almost guarantee, 95+% sure in 5 years, we're going to be talking about another, Sam Bankman Fried deal, right? It's going to be another one. So keep your eyes open, right? Keep smart and, you know, study, right? And keep active. I think those are the best suggestions I can give, and just common sense, right? If you get a weird feeling, trust that instinct immediately. Don't try to like start overthinking it. So,
Right
stay
on.
calm and
Right on. Thanks, man. So, let's talk about your project as well. What's going on in your world before we close on? I know you have
appreciate
Herasoft now, great company. You guys writing a lot of software. What's what can you share with the audience right now?
it.
And also, I haven't had the time to catch up with you for some time, so I'm curious to know what's going on the Herasoft side.
I appreciate it, Gray. Yeah, it's been awesome. We founded Hera 3 years ago in January, and we serviced 19 clients. We really just blown up. It's been big. We've increased our sales like 4 times in a year through mid-year, and it's been a lot of fun. Basically, what we're doing is we're commercializing
Mhm.
Bitcoin and other public protocols, right? So we look at Bitcoin as the world's strongest database. That's why everybody's betting billions of dollars into it. Like we look at Ethereum as the world's strongest processor. And so we got a product called Herostamp that's literally using Bitcoin as the world's strongest notary service.
Yeah.
And we got it as like a SaaS product. And then we're about a year away from a network security product called Herapass. And we're basically using Ethereum offshoots to do identity security. So kind of getting back to that cyber security, cyber crime being like close to $9 trillion this year by Statista estimates.
Hmm.
The majority of the cyber crime comes through from network security, and data loss is about a $3 trillion a year problem. So we're basically trying to get crypto commercialized. We're trying to get public protocols into the world of commerce, into businesses, into governments, and we're really really super stoked. So yeah, we're out to market. We've got actually an opportunity. We've never done this before, but we have a something called a community round. It's a crowdfunding
Hmm.
raise that we've done on a site called WeFunder, which I think is the world's biggest crowdfunding platform, and it's opened up to the world. And this is the first time we've publicly shared anything about it. So I haven't shared anything on my social yet. This your show, your thank you. I mean, this is it. This is the big opening of the offering, and I think the offering it's as little as $100. People can participate, which is pretty neat.
So this is like
We,
a
we've
is like a token. You're launching a token for Herasoft. Is that what it is?
We're actually launching equity, but here's what's really cool is
Mm.
that they have these things called perks. And so if you buy like $100, I think you get a matching 100 hercs. And if you buy like 250, you get like 250 hercs up to 10,000. And so we did a matching one for one with the herc, and the herc tokens are something that we launched back in 2018 now. It's a long time
Mm.
ago, and we basically it's like a Matic. Basically, it's a layer two on Ethereum, except it's totally raw. Obviously, Matic has got billions of dollars of resources into it now. So Hercules is just a very very scaled down. We're requiring keys to basically access of Hercules to access the Hera soft products. So what we're doing is when we sign up a client, we're putting the keys, either 1,000 or 10,000, into a wallet address, and we're basically managing that right now. And so over time, as market timing gets more for commercializing these products, we see all of this being embedded, the crypto, the software keys embedded in the products. Our view is that for enterprise especially, it's better not to commingle directly into the product the software keys, because people aren't used to using that. And
Right.
the world still needs system administrators on the business side, and system administrators aren't used to securely managing crypto keys yet. So for early days, I would say that's something really important for the audience to remember, that we're at the very dawn of commercialization, which is super exciting. And that's where all the benefit is. Like listening to visionaries like yourself, and you've been proven right so many times that, you get in early on smart projects that seem like they make a lot of sense, and you can do really, really well for yourself.
Right.
And I think that's the case here, right? So be smart and kind of long term thinking, and realize that we're still in the early days of the industry.
All right. So I will share this. At what platform is this happening? I can share the link in the description below.
Yeah, it's called WeFunder, wefunder.com, and it's wefunder.com/Herasoft. So Herasoft, we named the company. We had the protocol Hercules, so after the Greek demigod, and Hercules is known as kind of the founder of commerce or the story of commerce. So I don't know if your viewers know this. The lines and currency symbols, including Bitcoin, come from the pillars of Hercules. So the
Mm.
pillars of Hercules were like the two pillars, and that's the lines that were by the Mediterranean Sea, basically the Straits of Gibraltar getting out into the Atlantic and back and forth. And so the whole story of Hercules. So Hera was Hercules' stepmom. So he
Yeah,
basically said, you know, if Hera and Hercules can get along together, then why can't everyone in the world get along together? And that's kind of our view, is that by commercializing crypto, we're going to have more transparent and trustworthy commerce, and therefore a more peaceful world, right?
yes,
Because we're not going to have as much fear and knowing, oh, did somebody do this or not do that? That by having it be very, very clear, then we can eliminate a lot of this turmoil and violence and fear that we have in today. And I think that's why we're all really here. The OGs of us that are here, through all the wounds and scars and battles and everything, right? We're still here. We're still
man.
here. So
I'll share the link to the project down in the description to allow everybody who want an opportunity to have a look and perhaps invest. But I'm just thankful for you joining today, and especially thankful for having you as my mentor in my early days of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, because you're full of wisdom and you understand a lot of things. And I think it gave me a solid direction in this market. Just like you, I haven't really lost money in any of the collapses of all these major companies, because the principles that you gave me earlier, they're still with me. The core Bitcoin at heart principles, they apply in everything that I build, everything that I do, and even the way I direct my audience, to protect ourselves and to make sure that we're on the right path. Because a lot of people are in this market to basically, they know that this industry is the light, the only industry
mhm.
that really has a good promise for a lot of people in their life. It doesn't matter where they are, right? So it's really beautiful. So I see a comment here. Someone says, um, he says, it feels like crypto is going to an end. So I do know this feeling in every cycle. It reaches a point where it's like, yo, come on, it's so much negative news. This thing is over. You can compare this to 2017 China situation and then India banning crypto as well. It always happens. What would you say to somebody who is about to quit crypto right now? They're like, well, no, this industry is nuts. There's
Yeah,
FTA.
I
I
would
mean, there's
say,
there was what? The first one was Terra Luna, and then Celsius, and then FTX, BlockFi. Everything feels like it's going on fire, and it's very hard for someone to still be optimistic about the industry. And it happens every cycle. But for people who are new, what would you say to them?
I think you have to ask yourself a question. I think you have to just ask yourself, like, what made you curious about crypto? Like, why are you interested in crypto? And I
Right.
think if you can answer that question in a way that says, well, because I believe in a better way of being, then you're going to be okay. But I think if you answer that question because I want to make a lot of money fast, you're probably going to
Mm,
need another cycle.
mm,
You're probably not going to be able to stay this cycle. I would say from a math standpoint, we all know about the halving, quote unquote, right? With Bitcoin, where the
yeah.
keys after, right, every about 4 years or so half. And, we're about 2/3 of the way into the last halving. And so, we've seen before at least an uptick, from the price action, from a dollar standpoint, BTC standpoint. And typically when we've seen these halving events before, you typically see a pretty big price jump.
Hmm.
It depends kind of where in the cycle. I mean, it's that's not really predictable so much, but it's at least kind of somewhat correlated with with the next halving. And so I would say keep patient. I would say that mainstream, remember when things were really mainstream, that was when the prices were a lot higher than they are today, and
Yeah.
whatever your national currency is pretty much. And that wasn't the truth, obviously. So now the fact that mainstream isn't really talking at all about, crypto, quote unquote, except negatively, I would take that as a really good sign, because now it's like, oh, it's all negative. Well, that's actually a really good time to buy, right? Buy low. You
Yeah.
get more. Think in terms of satoshis, right? Think in terms of the software keys. You want to max out how much you have, how many keys you have,
Mm.
not at what price you bought the keys. You want to minimize that, right? You want to maximize the number of keys, and just stay patient, right? Just think about what really matters in your life and why are you doing this, and I think then you're going to make better decisions about your choices, right? It's going to be aligned with your choices in life.
Right on. Anthem, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it. And we hope that we'll see you much more often these days. I do pay attention. I will be paying more attention to what's happening to Herasoft. I would definitely
Appreciate
invest because I believe in you. And then I also know that all your work comes from a good place in your heart of trying to make the world a better place. And we're
it. Thank you.
visionary as well. So I will be part of Herasoft, and I hope I will see you again very soon with more updates on what's happening in your world.
Thank you, Gray. I'm honored to have you in my life. I'm honored for your presence in this world and in my life, and I thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of what's going on in our world, my world, with you and your audience. And just God bless you and your audience. And thank you. It's an honor and a lot of fun, and it has been too long. And I'd love to make this a lot more of a frequent appearance. And thank you. These are the things that really matter in life. So, people and relationships and love and communication. And it's easy to lose track of that. And I'm the first one to be guilty of that. So, it's the people that matter most. It's the relationships, and I think having that mindset brings happiness, and you learn the difference between what matters and what really is meaningless. So I appreciate this. This relationship means a lot to me. So thank you.
Likewise, Anthem, have a good one, and cheers.
Great. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
All right, guys. So I will I will have to, before we close, I will close with a little bit of technical analysis. But before we get there, a quick appreciation of our sponsors today. Our sponsors today are, you guys already know, Coin Ledger. And the story is all about tax loss harvesting. It's one of the services that is available on their website. Link is down in the description. NFT tax loss harvester, meaning that you can sell your worthless NFTs on their platform and turn it into something you can use to claim a return on your taxes, right? So you pay less taxes if you use this service here. They have a built-in software on their website that you can use to basically get discount on your taxes. So if it's tax season or it's almost tax season, you have a bunch of NFTs that you bought and you lost money on, or you just received them for free. When you dispose of your NFTs for less than you acquired it for, you recognize a capital loss that can be used to reduce your taxable income of the year. This is a tax saving strategy known as tax loss harvesting. So maximize your tax refund for the year, reduce your taxes by selling depreciated NFTs, and claim the losses. Even if they're worth nothing, these guys will buy those NFTs for you, and you can take this to your advantage. All right. So never say I didn't tell you. Link is down in the description below. But also for any other tax related purposes for crypto, you can use Coin Ledger for that. They have a lot of services. They are trusted by lots of people, used by some of the largest trusted companies in the crypto space for reporting tax, and on for individuals, for companies as well, for tax reporting. So go to coinledger.io, especially if you use my link down in the description or do you use my referral code, you will get discount for any service that you use on this platform. Okay, lastly, BTC is standing at 17,395 after testing the highs of 18,300. Not forgetting to say that I did tell you guys on the last stream that I did, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, that I'm not falling for this kind of movement. It seems like it's a dead cat bounce, or it's kind of like a fake pump, because the negative news was so much to be overcome. And I did tell you that my position on Dogecoin that I have on Apex is still open. I wasn't gonna close it. And now where we are, we're standing at 238% profit on the $100 profit challenge. So this is what it's looking like. We still keep making money, and I'm not closing my Dogecoin position. Worst case scenario on this one, the worst that would happen is that I'll break even, but there's no loss whatsoever. And right now the profits look really good. Now, this is how I trade. Imagine on a trade that I have $20,000 or $50,000, and if I'm experiencing this kind of profit, it's usually a lot of money. But because I'm only trading for like $100 capital here, well, you can sort of guess that that's why we only have $21. But it is, on principle, we are making a lot of money. What matters is the percentages, not really the dollar amount. So make sure you're following what's happening with this activity, because it's really important. I will be sharing more trades. It's just that I haven't seen any edges right now, but I will be sharing more and more. Otherwise, love you guys to the moon. I'll see you on the next live stream. Keep your keys safe. I mean, I'm also glad on the other side that Binance seems to be safe from the collapse that a lot of people were speculating on, and everything looks really good. Okay, I'll see you guys on the moon. Make sure you buy yourself a Ledger hardware wallet. Link is also in the description. And protect your money. It's about time that we start doing that, and keep on the exchange the only amount of money that you can afford to lose. Thank to everybody who has liked this video, who always like my videos, because it helps with the algorithm. And also those of you who are new and you're subscribing, I appreciate it so much. I'll see you guys on the next stream. Peace out, guys.